Ha ha ha! Yes, 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 yes. We are
Boy, it's
back.
that sound again.
Two guys catching up on football. I'm Otis,
And I'm Jerry.
and that's Jerry. And needless to say,
Well, we haven't
we
heard
just
that
kind of
for
wing
8
this
months or
because
so.
that's what we all. I know, because that's what we always used to
Oh,
do at work. They paid us the first
yeah.
3 hours every Monday, and we talked about football during that whole time. So it was a good job.
Yeah.
So
And people got
you
to
know,
remember. Well,
huh?
no, I was gonna say I gotta do our shout out on the first show. We're live, so things might happen as we're recording this.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Jerry's cat likes to
yeah,
be on camera, so
yeah,
uh, they might walk across the keyboard while this is going on. So
yeah.
you just
And
kind of never know.
my connection can get a little goofy sometimes too. So
Yeah. So in the production thing, I think we can square it all away. But this is
sure.
season two, and we are so looking forward to this now. For those who might have stumbled upon us, and I'm pretty sure that's how people find us. For those who might have stumbled upon us, Jerry and I used to work together, and this is what we did every Monday was talk about football. Now, of course, today is Sunday, so what we will have talked about is what has already happened. And we talk about both college and pro. Just college has gone on this weekend, so we'll talk some about that. But yeah, it's just we just kind of wing it, and we have a good time, and we just have fun and stuff. So, um, and now Jerry, I have to mention that not my brother Michael, but my brother Aaron was upset
Okay.
because we didn't talk about the Clemson Tigers enough. And I
Wow.
told
All
him the
right. Well.
reason for that was, I told him the reason for that was because we didn't care. So, but
Well. Does
For
he?
Aaron, this is the first show I'm gonna do this. Clemson. There you go. That's all you're getting this year.
Yeah.
I mentioned their name, so be happy.
Well, I would say after yesterday, Aaron, you sure you want us to talk about Clemson? I think I did text Otis early on that hey, Georgia better start running the ball. Next thing I look, it's well, they did anything they wanted to, so
Yeah,
not even
they pretty
close.
much did.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Aaron, there you go. But that's all we're going to talk about this year as far as Clemson goes. But there were some really good games yesterday, but most of the big teams played those directional schools.
Yeah.
Western Kentucky, Western
Yeah.
Carolina, North Dakota State. And so, they were better. I mean,
Well,
a lot of those teams, and North Dakota
yeah,
State is a good team. So,
yeah, they
but
gave him a run. Yeah.
yeah, they
Yeah,
hung in there.
yeah. Even Fresno
I'm sorry. Go
State.
ahead.
Fresno State hung in there as well for a while. Definitely.
Fresno State did.
Against Michigan. Yeah.
I remember when Pat Hill was there. The motto was anyone, anytime, anywhere. And most of these big schools hated to have Fresno State on their schedule because they knew
Yeah.
it was not going to be a cakewalk. And
Yeah.
plus, they paid Fresno State all this money to have this game scheduled, and then Fresno State would come to their place and beat them.
Yeah.
I don't remember the year, but the one year they had like Wisconsin and two other schools in the very first three games and they won all three, and all of these schools were ranked.
Well,
And
yeah.
Fresno State wound up
I
being in the top 10. Well, they couldn't handle the prosperity. They promptly lost the fourth game by a lot. But
I could be
it was
wrong, but they showed some stats, and going back to around 2000 or so, I could be wrong on this, but I swore that they might have even showed that Fresno State beat Alabama back then. Might have been back in 2000 or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure they ever
I
played
would have to look it
Alabama.
up. But yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
showed the
I'm not
teams that
certain.
Fresno State has played. Yeah, Fresno State has
Yeah,
played some pretty tough teams in the openers. Yeah.
they have, and between them and Boise State, one of them will get a playoff bid because I think the
Probably.
Mountain West Conference will get
Yeah,
a
probably.
playoff spot, the champ.
Yeah.
And so right now it's between Boise and Fresno State. So and Boise, that running back from Boise State yesterday, 6 touchdowns. And
Wow.
I think he wound up with like 296 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. And he just ran through those guys. So I think a couple of people probably after one game have put him on the ballot for the Heisman Trophy. And so if Boise State
Oh yeah.
continues to win and he continues to run like that, who knows? Maybe he will be, the first Heisman winner in a long time from somewhere that wasn't an
Yeah.
SEC
True. Yeah.
or Pac-12, which is no longer, from one of those teams, or not one of Lincoln Riley's quarterbacks. So it's yeah, yeah. So so we'll see. But there were some really good games, and I think USC and Florida State is tomorrow night,
No, that's
I
tonight.
believe.
USC and LSU
Oh,
is
it's
today.
LSU, not Florida State. Oh, that's
Yeah,
today. Florida
I
State does
believe it.
play
It
tomorrow
might
night, but
even
I
be on.
forget
It
who
might
they
just be
play.
starting. Yeah. Yeah, there is a game tomorrow, though.
Yeah,
I do
yeah,
know that as well. Yeah.
right. It is Florida
Florida
State. I
State
know
and
that.
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Now I might
We'll
have
see
to.
if
Uh,
they come
uh,
back.
I might already have to eat some words because I forgot that University of Miami got one of my favorite quarterbacks last year was Cam Ward from Washington
Grandpa Cam
State.
Ward. We got
Yeah,
to talk
so
about.
well, so that so, in fact, but they even had Miami's got a tight end that it's his ninth season. So some
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
so,
actually closer to being a grandpa than Cam Ward
yeah,
is.
he gets
I
the
think he
early
has two
season.
kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he
he's the
has two
early
kids,
season
and I think they're
grandpa.
teenagers. Yeah,
But I
we are
usually think
going.
that Miami might finally be legit. I usually think that they are hyped up because of the name and then they stink. But they
Yeah,
finally might be actually good. And another one, they could make the playoffs, and I think they probably will. Yeah.
they could. They still in the ACC.
Uh, Not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they are. I mean, they could be ACC
Yeah,
champs
you're right. I think they are
because
too. Yeah.
yeah. So and so they could make it as an ACC champ. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, between Cam Ward and I think the guy's name is Cam also, and he's a tight end. And so
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah.
he had a couple of injury years that they gave him extra years for. He didn't have to come back this year, but he wanted to.
Yeah.
And so he's like 27, 28 years old, something like that.
Well,
And it's like, wow. And now, Oregon also replaced Grandpa Bo Nix with another
Yeah,
grandpa,
yeah,
Dylan Gabriel. He's been in
yeah. He
college
came over
football for
now.
a long time, and he also had a couple of years that he got, um, I guess, for lack of a better word, I'm not sure if this is a word, re-granted because of injuries, and he
Oh,
also got a COVID year. So, because he started out at Central Florida many, many, many years ago.
well,
He
he
started
wasn't.
out
Was
as
he? He wasn't the quarterback there when they were undefeated that year, was he?
yes,
No.
he was the
Oh, he
start.
was.
He was the starting quarterback as a freshman in 2018, when everybody was talking about they should have been in the
Yeah,
playoff because they were that good, and they
yeah.
played. I don't recall the team. I'll have to look that up, but
Mm.
they played. They played a big school, and I think it was an SEC school, and they
Hmm.
beat them. And so they went undefeated that year, and they should have been in the playoffs. And then he got hurt early the next year, and then he was out all of 2019, and then there was the COVID year, and then
All
so
right.
he got those 2 years. Then he went to Oklahoma, and I think they gave him another year. I'm not sure. I think he's graduated. He has a degree,
That,
so I believe that the NCAA has something about if you have a degree, even if you graduated, you can be a graduate player somewhere else. Um,
yeah, probably.
so now he's at Oregon now, and I think he threw for almost 400 yards yesterday.
Wow.
But they had a tough time with that team until the final quarter, and
Hmm.
they just had too much talent, and the other team couldn't keep up. So it
Now I
was,
did see. Yeah. Two is Tennessee quarterback. I don't can't remember the name. Good day.
oh
And
yeah,
we got another one through the pipeline. Is get ready for Arch Manning because right we're sure he's going to get hyped up in Texas. So
he's only gonna play if Ewers. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Ewers gets hurt. He's probably
true.
only gonna play because Ewers is pretty good. He's not gonna stink up the joint. So I think they'll probably put him in for like a handful of plays like they did yesterday. I think he threw the ball 6 times. But Texas didn't have to throw it,
Yeah.
so they kind of basically ran through the defense. Um, so he'll get some play, and somewhere along the line, if he wants it, he'll probably get an extra year to be able to play and show what he can do, and not be sitting behind Quinn. I'm going to call him Quinn because I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, but
I think
and that
Ewers.
Shadur Sanders played really well. Uh,
Yeah.
I think they played on Thursday. He played really well. Colorado, though, is going to get beat. Um,
Now
and
next
as
week
much
they
as
got Nebraska. Yeah.
yeah, and that quarterback for Nebraska, the guy who looks like Mahomes, he's good. He's really
Yeah.
good.
It's going to be a lot
He's the
harder
best.
than North Dakota State. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and if Colorado's defense, because they're in the Big 12 now, I guess, or are they in the big? Are they in the Big 10?
Big Ten, aren't they? No.
Yeah, Big 10. They're
Yeah,
in the Big
Big Ten.
10.
But
Yeah. So
but
if they,
I look at their schedule. Their schedule's not too crazy.
well, they've got 5 teams that are ranked in the top 25. That's a lot.
Well,
That,
yeah,
that that's a lot. Yeah. So as much as I like Dion, he brought this on himself
yeah,
because he's pounding his chest, and look at what I can do, look at what I can do, and then he lost the last 6 games of the season. Then
yeah,
all of a sudden it was, why are you asking me all these questions about why
yeah.
we
Right.
lost?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, you kind of acted as though you guys were going to win a lot of games and you haven't. And this is what we put every head coach through. This
Yeah.
is
No,
no
exactly.
different. However, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, go
he
ahead.
shouldn't get well, we know Bill Belichick, he hated he hates press conferences when he was coaching. It's part of the job. You got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the job. Now, Belichick, to his credit, never beat his chest about how good he was or how good the team
No.
was. So then he could
No.
he could go ahead and tell him, not going to answer your question. So if he had if he had been beating his chest and all that, then he was going to have to answer tough questions. And so if Dion's press conference was a little better after the game, he said, "Is it possible that you can win and not feel like you won the game?" So that in itself was good. Maybe he's become a little more self-aware as far as
Wow.
how he wants to present himself. Maybe
Yeah.
um,
Right.
we'll have to see. He's Dion,
Well, we'll see. Yeah.
and he is like Jerry Jones. He likes the spotlight, and he's not one to want to give it up all that easy.
Right.
So that's
Right.
probably why he's one of
Yeah.
Jerry Jones's favorite people. So and so I'm trying to make a good transition to the pro game. So
Right. Right. We
for those
started up
that,
on Thursday. What? Well,
yeah,
on that note, real quick, is unfortunately now we're never going to see. It's highly doubtful, but I would want to see the coaching matchup between Dion and Jim Harbaugh. That's another transition to the pro game. We'll never see it probably, but I just would want to
no,
see the interaction.
yeah, that would be kind of funny. That would be funny. Yeah. So for those of you that again have stumbled on us, um, I'm a 49er fan, and Jerry is a Cleveland Brown fan. And neither one of us, no matter how well they're doing, we always expect the other shoe to drop at some point.
Yep.
And that's just kind of the way it is. For
Yep.
me, it's with Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
And I am maybe the only person in the United States who says he's not an offensive genius. And I say that because an offensive genius is not the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl and can't even get a lousy field goal in the second half.
Yeah.
An offensive genius is not someone who has a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter in the Super Bowl and can't get a lousy field goal to stretch two lousy field goals to stretch the lead.
Yeah.
An offensive genius finds a way to make his offense go regardless of what the defense is doing.
Yeah.
Um,
True.
Andy Reid is an offensive genius because he really, whatever it is you try to do, he finds a way around it. And so, Shanahan has Purdy, who's good, so he should be able to find a way around it. I'm going to let you talk about the Browns and your.
Oh, I'm optimistic. Hope for the best, but expect the worst. That's always my motto with the Browns. So we'll see. It's kind of odd. I don't know how you feel. First, going into the first week, I was thinking this morning, being Sunday, is I'm kind of calm. I don't really feel anything. Probably within 5 minutes of that game next Sunday, they play the Cowboys. I'm sure I'll be yelling at the television, that'll mean the season has started again. I do
Yeah,
think I'm not going to go crazy with Super Bowl aspirations. I do think they're a playoff team. If they can stay healthy, maybe Super Bowl. But I think the defense might be a little weaker just because teams will have some time to have studied it. Houston in the
Yeah.
playoffs exposed them, although they had Flacco at quarterback. Flacco's got shoes made of cement. Uh,
Yeah.
the Texans said he's not going anywhere, fellas. He's not running out of the
No.
pocket. So
There,
so
there's a
rush him and
there was a there was a big X on the field, and they went Flacco's going to be there, and
yeah,
that's it. So
yeah,
we
he's
will
not moving
find him.
anywhere else.
We
Yeah,
will find him on that
yeah,
spot. So directly behind the center, he isn't going to go left. He's not going to go right. He'll be directly behind the center, 3, 5, or 7. So there's your X's. Just go to that
yeah,
spot. You'll
yeah.
find Joe.
So,
So
yeah, they gotta keep Watson needs to stay healthy. It's another one. I expect him to miss time at some point. Hopefully, it's just a few games. Uh, my biggest guy that I want back, and it's just good for the league, is apparently he'll be back week 5. Is Nick Chubb? I want
yeah,
him back. I want him healthy because I love watching him run when he's healthy. So
and
hopefully he
because
comes back.
he's gonna miss those first 4 games, I think it'll well. Hopefully, he's not one of those guys who's injury prone, and a lot of them are. And
Yeah.
so, and once they have an injury, it just kind of leads to other injuries. So,
Well,
I
second
hope
time.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
but now, who I like for you, I like Jameis Winston as the backup. Jameis is going to throw 4 touchdowns every time he's in there. However, some might be to the other team. So,
I know. Yeah, that I say don't. No, on the. I'm not a Winston guy. I wish that they. I
yeah,
don't understand that move. That move does baffle me a little bit. Is I think you could have kept. Why didn't you keep? Well, one, you had Huntley from the Ravens, and then they gave him back to
yeah,
the Ravens. And I like
yeah,
Dorian. I like DTR, Dorian Thompson Robinson, UCLA now, quarterback now in his second year. I like him a lot. They just need to. My joke is they got to have him hang out with DTR. Needs to go to spend a week with the linemen and go out to dinner with them, hang out in the weight room. He needs to gain about 10 to 12 pounds or so, and then
yeah,
I'd be fine with him. But I'm
yeah.
not a
But
Winston guy. That move, I still no. It's going to
but
be difficult.
he is better than Flacco because he's a little more mobile. And he's
You got to
not
have a
always
mobile guy. Yeah,
yeah, and he's not always going to be on the spot.
yeah,
And then we talked about this before. We're not at practice, so we don't see what Robinson is doing at practice. And it may be that the way the play is designed, he's missing
yeah.
guys, or he can't he can't see them and have his
Oh,
body react to what he
yeah.
sees because you know how
Yeah.
it is in the pros. You have to react the
Oh, yeah.
split
Much.
second
Yeah,
that you see it,
yeah.
because if you think about it, that 1/10 of a second, that defensive back is on the receiver
Oh,
and he's no
definitely.
longer open.
Yeah.
And he may not be one of those quarterbacks that can throw a guy open. And so we don't.
Yeah,
He's
give him
athletic.
time. Let him learn. It's my
Yeah,
let him learn. Yeah,
he's athletic enough that he should be on the team, but maybe he's not
yeah.
quarterbacky. We'll call that a word. Maybe he's not quarterbacky enough
That's
to be able to run the offense
yeah.
like the way
Oh, Stefanski.
what's
Yeah,
the thank you,
Stefanski. Yeah,
like the way Stefanski wants to run it. So and we're not
yeah.
there, so it's hard to say. But
Now,
I'm hoping.
speaking of young quarterbacks, as I'm going to jump to now we got. I'm thinking who's going to be the rookie QB that is it going to be May in New England, Daniels in Washington? Who else is? I would like to see Daniels succeed in Washington.
I think he will. I think
And
he
I
will.
think
I
he's
think he's
starting, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Grandpa
he's
Nix will
going.
be playing in Denver. I don't know how that's going to go.
Well, I don't either. I think Jaden Daniels is the quarterback that the Commanders needed.
Yeah.
Um, he's a little bit older, although he's not as old as Bo. Then again, you and I aren't as old as Bo, so um, I think he's going to be really, really good. I think the NFC East has really three really good quarterbacks now, um, and the Giants are going to have to deal with having Daniel Jones this year.
I,
They're going to have to, and that's
well,
just
they
too
can
bad.
set themselves up. Yeah. They'll
Yeah, that's just too
probably.
bad.
Yeah, they'll have a shot probably at the maybe that's Sanders coming out next year. Uh,
Maybe
that the
it might
Giants
be.
are.
Yeah, it might be Cam Ward
Yeah,
because he
true.
comes out this year also. And I think there's four quarterbacks that'll be coming out this year that
Who are
the
legit? Yeah,
Giants will have a shot at. And so
yeah,
the general manager just needs to do a good job, and that's really what it comes down to. He just needs to do a good
yeah.
job because I still think Dayball is a good coach. I don't think he could have overcome Daniel Jones. He did it one year, but then again, Hugh Jackson got the most out of
Oh,
what's the kid
yeah.
name we talk about all the time?
Oh, that's oh gosh,
He
it's
was with
not
the
Coleman.
Raiders, and
Yeah,
no,
no, gosh.
he was with the
Oh,
Raiders, and Hugh Jackson got a winning
Hugh
record out of
Jackson
him.
made him a winner. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So, but for one year,
boy,
so
talking
Dayball
about
made.
getting old, we can't even remember that.
Yeah, I know. Where's my
Coleman or something
pudding?
like that. Yeah,
Yeah, where's my
I can't
pudding at?
remember.
So, but Dayball got a lot out of Daniel Jones one year. However, he had Saquon Barkley in the backfield with him,
Yeah.
and that made all the difference in the world. So, they're gonna there's a lot of really really good quarterbacks in both leagues now, and I don't think we haven't seen that in a really long time since the 80s when there were a lot of really really good quarterbacks all around the league. And
I'm going to fix our middle-aged moment, Otis. It was Jason Campbell.
thank you. you
Yeah.
you looked it up. Oh, okay.
Whew,
Yeah,
no,
so
I
Jason.
remembered.
Oh, okay. All right, Jason. I still want my pudding, but yeah, Jason Campbell, Hugh Jackson made him look good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but there's a lot.
Uh,
You go to each conference, and there's at least two really good quarterbacks in each not conference, but each
we're in
division.
the
You go
division. Yeah,
to within a division, I mean, every one of them has at least two good quarterbacks in it
yeah.
that are going to be battling it out. And so now is
Now how? Yeah, how many games are we going to give? What's the over and under on Russell Wilson remaining the starter in Pittsburgh?
I'm going to say 5.
Yeah, I would go 4.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say we'll split the difference and go 4.5. So we have that hook in there, so when people bet on it, they can go with 4 or 5. So we'll say 4.5. That Wilson will still be the quarterback. Um, the Chicago just did Justin Fields so bad.
Yeah, they
I
did.
really don't know if he's ever gonna be able to recover from it. They just did
I
him
think
so
that
bad.
I do think that I'll say Fields will be the starter at the end of the season,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
will solidify, be good enough to. I shouldn't say that. I want to say solidify it where they don't have to draft a quarterback, but that's probably not true.
It is
They'll probably still
probably
take
not
the QB.
true, but if Tomlin does what he always does, just win 10 games,
That's
they won't
true.
be in a
He
position. They won't be in a
Yeah,
position
true.
to draft a
Yeah,
quarterback. And as
yeah,
bad as Wilson
yeah,
has been, he is still an upgrade on who they've had and on who they've had behind center.
yeah.
And which is sad that he's actually an upgrade on who they've had behind center.
No, that's true.
And,
Right.
and as bad as Fields has been, he is still an upgrade on who they've had behind center. And that's
It's
sad.
true.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
We know what.
Tomlin's.
Never
I'm
bet
sorry, go ahead.
against. I was going to say we know two things. Never bet against Mahomes. That's too risky. And never bet against Tomlin at least having a winning record. It's going to happen.
Yeah, he has such a good coaching staff that they managed to figure it out. Even though they
Yeah.
go against teams that have far superior talent to what
Yeah.
they have, they managed to. That is without a doubt. I mean, that's the best coaching staff in the league.
I think
Period.
so. And I mean, I'm not, I'm not exactly a Steelers fan, but
I know. I know.
I think that they do the best job of having their guys ready to play. And if they do
Yeah.
have a stinky week, and they do, every team does at some point, they have a bad game.
Right.
But Tomlin has that team bounce back every time.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
they'll
He
at least
does.
look better. Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about this once before because again, not a Shanahan fan. However, who are you going to get to replace him? That's the thing.
Well,
And because the
people,
really,
I'm sure the what the internet would tell you is, oh, well, we can go get Belichick or Nick Saban, but you got to be realistic.
yeah,
And
and I don't,
it,
I don't think Belichick or Saban would be better. I honestly don't.
yeah, no,
Um,
I don't see it. I think Belichick would probably stay on the East Coast somewhere. I
yeah,
think you and I talked
maybe,
about it already. I do think
yeah,
Belichick will be back on the field somewhere next year. Saban, probably
yeah.
not.
It won't be Dallas because
That's right. That was
Belichick.
my theory. Yeah.
Yeah, it won't be Dallas because Belichick is too big of a personality, and Jerry Jones is not going to share that. And McCarthy has won 12 games a year since he's been there. Jones
Yeah.
stuck with Jason Garrett, and he had 10 years of 8-8. So,
Yeah.
but Jason Garrett is the coach that he wants. He's not somebody that wants the limelight, something like that. So he wants a coach that's not going to be bigger than him, and
True.
that's too
I
bad.
don't think I think the Shanahan question is going to be answered because this will be the year that they finally break through and get their title. That's my guess
He's
or prediction.
he's he will
They
he
got to
just
do it this year. The
he just
Niners
comes
have to win it this year
he just comes up
because
small.
once they got to pay Purdy, it starts to crumble a little bit. You got to do
Yeah,
it this year.
yeah. I mean,
That's
he
what I'm
has
thinking.
to. He just comes up small in the biggest moments, and that's you want your coach to come up bigger. I mean,
I did say I saw an interesting stat. Actually, a buddy of mine, like a friend of mine, still writes stuff for the paper here locally in Monterey. But he said every time that somebody has held out, when it was Debo and I think Bosa, when they came back, their numbers that season actually dropped. So we'll see if Ayuk, like, I know you've already hoped for the best, expect the worst. I think you already tossed out there that Ayuk, don't be surprised if week 2 he's holding his hamstring or something like that
yeah,
because he's
yeah,
not in game shape.
because
So we'll see.
he's not in game shape. It depends on how much they play him when the season starts. Um, But those skill position players like that, wide receivers, defensive backs, um, when they don't go through the rigors of training camp, their bodies are not ready. And training camp is one thing. Live games, the speed is
Oh yeah.
altogether different, and
Oh
and
yeah.
and it's very easy to pull a hamstring um, once the games start. So I hope it doesn't happen to him, but it's happened just through the history of the league when guys hold out, and a lot of veterans will hold out because they don't want to be in training camp and they don't want
Right.
to do all of that. But
True.
it does prepare you for the season, and
True.
so it's. I hope it doesn't happen to him because now, well, I think you saw it in the news. Ricky Pearsall got shot.
Yeah. Hold
Somebody
on
was
just a
trying to
second,
rob
Otis.
him. Oh, okay. So I gotta. I guess I have to. I guess I have to fill the airspace here until you come back. Um, okay,
Well,
and I don't think I can edit this out.
okay. No, no, no. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. That's live. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
You
but
know,
yeah,
when
I was.
you're doing a podcast, you got something cooking on the stove, and you start hearing it cook a little too hard because there's no more water left in there. You need to turn it off or get it
Oh
off the
yeah,
stove. So
yeah, yeah. Okay, all right, all right.
save dinner.
Yeah. So, but it'll be an interesting season. Most people expect Kansas City to win,
Yep.
but we haven't even gotten to the first week yet. Kansas
True.
City, I would say, has an 80% chance to win as long as Mahomes doesn't get hurt.
You know,
If he gets
true. No
if he
team,
gets
right?
hurt,
We know that even going back to all the great old Steelers, Cowboys, Niners teams, Packers, I guess, nobody's ever three-peated. And my thing is if anybody can three-peat, it's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs
yeah,
and Andy
yeah.
Reid. Yeah,
You know what's really funny? Now he's won a lot, um, but people really don't dislike him. Now
right.
Brady won a lot, and
True.
everybody disliked him unless they were Patriots fans. So
Oh,
it's
true.
kind of funny. I think a lot of people would like to see him do something that has never been done. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people would be okay if they don't repeat,
Well,
and I think just as many people will be okay if he does, because
yeah,
he's just fun to watch. I mean,
yeah.
he just really is a
Hey,
lot of fun.
Roger Goodell is not going to be upset at all if the
Yeah.
Chiefs and Niners meet again, and the Chiefs bring Taylor Swift with them again, and it's and they just repeat it all over again. Goodell would probably be thrilled.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to do
Okay.
that. There we go. There's our traveling music.
Uh,
So we'll call it a day. So this is two guys catching up on football. I'm Otis,
and I'm Jerry. We'll
and
see you
thank you
week
guys
one.
so much for
Yeah.
starting season 2, episode 1 with us. See you next week. Ciao, Bella.